like everybody else, I'm here to fight for our freedoms. There are many freedoms to be fought for, but mainly the one that is right under attack, right under the spotlight now, is our freedom of speech and even our freedom to protest. As many of you may know or not, otherwise I encourage you to research it, the Human Rights Act bill is being retouched and rewritten as we speak. So it's not just about our freedom of speech, our freedom to protest. This is all connected to controlling us. This is what all these 2 years have been about. It's about implementing such draconian laws that in the end this will resemble the social credit system in China. I always say that in the East it's the social credit system where, in case you don't know it, if you go below a certain amount of points, you are likely, I know of people who have been in house arrest for 5 years. If they consider your crime or your points to be low enough, you have to stay in your house for 5 years. And even worse, I watched a documentary that said that if they consider your crime to be bad enough, they can also block your right to buy groceries. So in short, what they're doing is starving you to death by making a prison of your own house where you can't even get the food you need to survive, to eat. Travel back to the Western civilization, and our version of the social credit system here has been and carries on to be the implementation of a so-called health passport. All our health information will be there, and that links into the digital society we are going towards, where eventually what they want us to do is be forced to carry an iPhone with us with all our information in it, where we were educated, what our work is, what our wages are, even all our bank details. And the danger here, please people wake up, those who think, oh, it's about commodity, it's about making things more comfortable for us. No, it's not. It's about controlling you, because once everything is digitalized, once we live in a cashless society, which I will talk about Europe in a minute, by the way, what's going on there, the government, our world leaders can do anything with us. They can literally say, well, because we consider you haven't behaved as we expected you to, we can literally shut off your digital chip or your digital phone. We can block your bank accounts, or even worse, we can block your right to go and buy groceries. So again, they can starve you to death. This gives them full freedom to invent really draconian laws, really dictatorial laws, and that's what we have to fight back against. And in case you think that this is slowing down people who have the false illusion now that they're getting their freedoms back because they've gone back to their jobs, because it's good weather, the government are letting us out to play for a little bit, but they intend to come back and take our freedoms away again and put us under house arrest. And the even bigger and more depressing news is that 18 months from now, so that would mean November 2023, the European Union expects to go completely cashless. So here we have it, the cryptocurrency, the non-cashless society, which is linked to your digital information. Everything is digitalized, therefore everything can be controlled by our so-called benevolent leaders. Right now, I feel that the people are pushing against the powers that be, even though it seems like this is a small turnout. Thankfully, we have channels like yours who are covering what's going on. A lot of people I know have gone abroad because some countries have eased down the regulations. That doesn't mean they're not going to come back because it's good weather, people are relaxing. Please, people, don't relax, because our leaders are hard, the cabal is hard at work to take our freedoms away. And when you come back from your lovely holiday or from spending the day on a beach under the sun, they will have taken our freedoms away. Before you know it, the Humans Act bill will be so retouched that you literally want to vomit from the impression you get. And if you'll permit me now, I'd like to talk about my friend Tahra. She is very linked to freedom of speech. So basically, Tahra Ahmed was sentenced, was found guilty of enticing racial hatred and being anti-Semitic merely for a couple of uncharacteristic comments that she posted on Facebook more than 5 years ago now. So the first suspicious thing about all this is, why have they tried her now, 5 years later, when they're trying to take away so many of our rights in the name of the greater good? That's point number one. Point number two, the real reason why Tahra is now in an A-level prison with all the criminals, which she has absolutely no relationship with, because they're all there because they've killed or are rapists or something, so she's having a really bad time in prison. She's been there for the last 2 months and 19 days now, by the way, is because it's not what she may have said or not may have said on Facebook. The nature of freedom of speech is to be able to say something that people don't like, yet have the right to say it. You know, like a very famous journalist, female journalist, whose name I can't remember now, but she wrote a biography about Voltaire. And in order to express what his feelings were about freedom of speech, she wrote down, "I do not agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." And that's what we're trying to implement with Tahra now. We're trying to appeal both the sentence and the verdict itself. And yeah, we're very, very upset. I saw her myself this Wednesday in person. So the so-called Free Tahra Committee, there's only 3 of us that can see her, and she's only allowed to visit twice a month. I know Tahra likes to put a brave face, but I think I could see through the makeup. She did say that she had nothing in common with the inmates and that she spends most of the day in the cell. Even the canteen to that particular prison, Downview Prison, is closed, which means you have to eat your meals in the cell as well, and she's only allowed half an hour of exercise a day. So that's pretty hardcore for someone who merely expressed her freedom of speech on social media. And what I would ask to the viewers, please, is we are trying to raise donations. She has pending legal costs from the barristers and the solicitors that she had to pay who represented her in court. And because she's appealing not only for the sentence but for the actual guilty verdict, we need to raise £15,000 for her to pay these legal costs. And you can do this. This leaflet has the information at this address or by scanning this QR code. I do realize that these are hard times, that a lot of people are cutting down on their grocery list, so it's hard to ask for donations right now. But if you can't give a donation, Tahra is in sore need of some psychological backup. So if you can write her a letter, by all means, you can write to Downview Prison without having to put your address at the back, don't worry. And the address is Tahra Ahmed, so you have to put her name and the prisoner number. And that's the address that right there, Downview Sutton Lane, Sutton, Surrey. And the postcode is SM2 5PD. You can also send her a postcard, a birthday postcard, because today of all days happens to be her birthday. So do send her your best wishes. Well, it's absolutely vital, because otherwise we will be in a one-track world where the only stories we get, the only version of the so-called truth we get, are the mainstream media version of it, which unfortunately, as we are discovering, are mostly nothing but lies, because the mainstream media are financed by the big multinationals. And the big multinationals who control us, all they're going to say to mainstream media is, you have to lie for us, you have to say what we tell you to do, you can't report the actual truth. So really, mainstream media has no freedom to tell the truth at all. So we really do need the alternative media to step in and give the other side of the story, or the other side of many other stories, because there's more than one version to one story, unfortunately. Well, you're asking someone who happens to think that everything is linked to the cabal and our leaders. We are facing a formidable enemy, and by that I mean that they're very intelligent, they're very clever. How are they clever? They're clever in the way that they control all sides of the argument. By this I mean that they create their own opposition, their own enemy. So I don't believe for 1 minute that Russia is the enemy of Ukraine or Ukraine is the enemy of Russia. Not at all. Both oligarchs are linked to the same cabal who are giving them instructions to basically act this theatre that, oh, we're at war because we disagree with each other and because apparently we've been at war for each other for the last 8 years. It plays perfectly for the majority of people who believe what's going on. They play into the theatre, they believe it, and all it is another distraction. Why all that is going on over there? It's a magic trick. It's what David Icke refers to as look over there, don't look over here. Because while that's going on over there, the human rights bill is being rewritten and all your rights are being usurped. So please put your attention where it should be. Join these kinds of protests who fight for the right freedoms, where the attention is where it really should be, not on what mainstream media is telling you.